Welcome to I'm From the Internet, a podcast about somethingawful.com, the goons, and their consequences. I am disgraced comedian Winslow Domain, sitting here with internet historian Brandstetter, and today we do have a special guest, Thor Jensen. Thor, how are you?
I'm great. It's a wonderful Wednesday morning. My kids go back to school tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to having the entire house to myself to be as filthy as I desire once more.
That's great, man. Should I call you K or K Thor?
It's Thor. The K is silent in the tradition of G. Gordon Liddy and L. Ron Hubbard.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, Thor, tell us a little bit about yourself. What brings you to our table?
So the way that most of your listeners probably would best relate to me is that I was the founding editor of a website called Portal of Evil, one of the leading atrocity tourism destinations in the Web 1.0 era. From the late 1990s to the mid-2000s, we spotlit tens of thousands, I would think, of unique and degenerate internet weirdos, freaks, creeps, geniuses, and otherwise unclassifiable people. And in relation specifically to the topic of your podcast, and this is not something that's known, we also hosted Something Awful for quite some time.
Oh, okay. Great. Well, I'm a fan of evil, so this works out great for both of us.
As a fan of portals and evil, I can't see a downside.
Yeah, big fan of portals and evil. Well, that's great. Yeah, we've been chatting about you for a while, so it's good to have you here. So it should be fun.
It's very cool. Yeah, the first image I have here on K Thor's intro is this old video of him being pulled on a couch that's on fire by a rope tied to a truck. Because I remember on Portal of Evil, people posting about this, and his almost kind of the way I conceptualized was like each website kind of had like a quote unquote like a celebrity, like somebody who had like done something like Fark had Will Wheaton, Something Awful had like Cliffy B, and then Portal of Evil had K Thor. It's like, oh, he's this cool indie cartoonist. He does all this neat stuff. And it was kind of like, oh, and also he runs, it was just you're a very cool figure of that era. So the fact that you're still around and still working on this stuff is really interesting.
Yeah. Well, Jay, what have you got for us for today?
Yeah, well, today's episode is about art theft in the t-shirt world. So also another reason I invited K Thor on is that K Thor is an independent t-shirt magnate of some note. Our listeners will probably know him best for making the shirt that says "Cum" in the Doom 3 logo font. So, and Winslow is also a cum merchant of sorts. So it's a real meeting of the minds here.
Yeah, I make a water bottle that says "Cum" on it. It's supposed to look like the Chupa Chups logo. I'm not even like I don't even go for like the horny joke guy type of stuff because I work for the Oddities and Curiosities Expo, and when you're surrounded by like horny sexy nun clowns over and over and over and over, it gets to be so like annoying and kind of tasteless after a while. But the cum bottle sells, so fuck it, whatever. I like a surreal joke infinitely more than I like a puerile one. But here we are. Are these your shirts I'm looking at here?
That's a portion of them. There are, I think, like 300. What's great about t-shirt design is it's very much like kind of writing a gag cartoon, is you get one idea that's strong, and you can, with print on, all this stuff is TeePublic, it's all print on demand. There's no upfront cost for me. So I can have a dumb idea, take 15 or 20 minutes to make it a reality. And my guiding philosophy is if one person loves it, that's a success for me. I get a couple dollars and somebody gets something in the world that they really wanted to wear on their body.
Yeah. I mean, I too have a TeePublic and I throw a few things up there. I should probably put more. But I'm liking what I'm seeing here because I've always really loved the Sherwin-Williams logo, which, dear listener, if you're not familiar with it, it is the most, how do you put it? It's like a megalomaniac's paint company logo because it is just the earth, an enormous paint can pouring red paint on the earth, and it just says, "Cover the earth." The balls you have to just like, no, we're going to make a paint company that paints the entire fucking planet.
Right, in blood red, nonetheless. So yeah, my variant on that is I have a version of it where the paint bucket's been replaced with a knife sticking into the planet, and it says "Murder the Earth" instead.
Yeah.
But so I do great. A lot of what you would call detournement if you were a fucking nerd, but I do a lot of just screwing with logos, screwing with concepts. I do a lot of bootlegging myself, a lot of stuff that is not commercially available. I love it when somebody will come to me and say, like, I saw this shirt in a movie. Can you make this? Like one that did really well. Somebody was like, there's a background extra in Smokey and the Bandit wearing the best like banana yellow Coors Light beer shirt. Can you replicate it? So I rent Smokey and the Bandit and I screen capture all the shots. And I look at Coors beer shirts from that time because there's no way you're going to get this shirt. It is gone. It is in the ether. So, and that shirt, we sold a couple hundred of those. Coors just actually hit me with a copyright strike, which is insane for me. But I love just hitting that sweet spot where you're like, that's an amazing thing that's gone. You know, I'd like it. I'd like it to be back. So yeah, we do a lot of that. You know, So it's pretty fun. It's a satisfying way for me to earn a little, dental money and make people happy.
I broke into an old abandoned heating oil company when I was in high school. It was me. I'm about a medium. My buddy Steve, who's a large, and my buddy Matt, who's an extra large. And I like the idea of introducing my friends for any reason by their shirt size. I think is kind of a funny.
Just me and the size boys.
Yeah. But yeah, it's this abandoned oil company, and like we stole all the stickers and like the telephones off the wall and shit. There's all sorts of stuff that you can yoink out of there. But we also went up into the attic and opened this like dusty old box and pulled out a medium, large, and extra large of these ancient shirts from the 70s that had like never been worn, but like time had aged them to be like as thin as spider webs. Like you could see the pores of my skin through this shirt. They were like gossamer, and it was just a pale yellow shirt with a bunch of bananas on it, and it just said bananas. And we would like, we wear pink kind of thing, the Mean Girls thing. So all three of us would wear our bananas shirts at the same time. That was a good time, man. But yeah, I do love the 70s when it was just like, now I feel like shirts have to say something, but I see so many shirts from the 70s that would just be like, a picture of some peaches, and it would just say peaches. And it's like, great, dude, fucking love peaches, man. Big fan of peaches, love the shirt.
Bring back one layer culture. Big fan of that.
Yes.
Their tools were so limited. You couldn't print directly onto fabric back then. So it was either embroidering or transfers. It was, but they couldn't be as weird with it. Yeah. I will say, as a mouse owner, I really appreciated this is the Zodiac squeaking one, where it's a Zodiac killer mouse. That was very...
Yeah, so also a lot of these, not a lot of them, I'd say like maybe 10 or 15%, people will say, I'd love to see this on a t-shirt. And that was, I think it was Eli Uden who suggested that one. I was like, that's a great idea. And so anybody who suggests an idea, an idea gets 50% of the profits in perpetuity. So like the Doomcom shirt, my friend Mara suggested that. She was like, this would be amazing. And I was like, I can do that. And so I've paid her out, thousands of dollars for that shirt because it's such a brilliant idea. And I firmly believe that sharing the benefits should be a perpetual thing. It should be forever.
Yeah, I did. Eli Uden just did a special, and I did a fucking sick logo for him. He recently reposted it, but he did a special called Humble Offering, and so I did the Eli Uden, his name with a big scythe coming down, and the eyes in his name were blown out candles with like the smoke trailing away. It's like a big black metal thing because he's a big metalhead. So Eli's good people. Yeah.
So for me, I love just being able to materialize things from the ether into reality is satisfying to me.
Yeah. No, but I mean, you're preaching to the choir, because I don't know if you've seen my stuff, but I'm the guy that made the Gatorade should be thicker sticker. Yeah. And I have my latest big one is just like this fiery bumper sticker that says, "Hell yeah, I drive fast. I miss my wife."
That's a good one.
So
I've definitely wanted to get into bumper stickers because I want to do one that says my other car is covered in blood. But
I have my other car is a gun. but I do have another one that does say, my other car, buddy, I'm not even in this one.
That's a good one. So, we love a bumper sticker.
Yeah. Well, if you ever want to talk shop, we can do that off the air, because that's my bread and butter.
Is it really your bread and butter? I wish bumper stickers were my entire bread and butter.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, I do the Oddities and Curiosities Expo, and like, yes, I sell the card game, and I made a deck of tarot cards and all that stuff. But like, yeah, dog, I sell a lot of stickers.
Look what you have done. Why all the change of heart? You need to pay your part. A copy of a copy of a.
Now we got some good art and shirts. We can move on to the bad ones, which is the subject of today's episode. Todd Goldman. So this is one of his gallery showings, and I've seen some of these designs in the wild before, especially like in the early 2000s. He was all over T-shirts. Just you're going to see the big one for his that he kind of is known for was the boys are stupid, throw rocks at them shirt, where it's like a little lollipop-headed boy and rocks being thrown at him. He's very much like a cartoony picture, like quirky slogan type of guy.
I mean, like, you don't need me to tell you this. This shit sucks. And it was the boys are stupid, throw rocks at them. Like you would see this at Spencer's Gifts or at Hot Topic or whatever. I do like that bad art is the new good art. I do like seeing people that make like kind of punk rock stuff. I think that it enables a lot more interesting things to be said that are not just held within the hands of people who are extremely talented at one kind of illustration. At a certain point, I don't like seeing an entire gallery of childish drawings blown up really big with huge price tags from a guy who's made his living making poop jokes. Oh God, it frustrates me to no end.
That's Todd Goldman himself there, which is a very kind of like a young broy looking guy. Like he was about my age when this goes down, which makes it all a little funnier for me. But yeah, I have his bio here. It says, Todd, dude on the right, began painting when he was a kid and still paints like a kid, signing his name Todd for that reason. It's what helps make his art special. Todd never went to art school and has driven his success through pure talent. Mixing humor with his art, whether they're laughing at Todd or with Todd, it doesn't matter, just as long as you're laughing. Like, just this very, the pure talent, as we're going to see, is really funny.
And in addition to this, it's worth noting for audio listeners, he's terrible to look at. Like, if this guy talked to you, like wanted to have a conversation with you in a public place, it would be a miserable conversation. You would learn so much about his portfolio. It would be a nightmare.
He does look like he could be how should I say it? Like he looks like he could be the CEO of a failed cell phone startup in 2011. But now he also looks like a white rapper who like got in trouble for like eating too many Nerf footballs. Like he looks like he takes gas station drugs. You know what I mean?
Oh
yeah.
He looks like Dexter would murder him in season 1. Like he has that type of look.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy. It's very interesting to see somebody who like has no main character face. He definitely looks like goon number 2. You know.
Yeah, and I speak of goon. I do have this quote from him here. He goes, "I'm just whacked out of my mind. Things just come to me really quickly. I have complete ADD, so I've never finished a book before. I haven't really watched cartoons or read comic books. It's just my witty sense of humor and my love to draw," Goldman said. "I love my job. I couldn't imagine doing anything else, and I meet so many girls. I just did this to meet girls."
Oh, God. Fuck off. I just did. All right. I was just at this fucking art fair. It's like a night market in Madison, and I got to talking to this guy who had this huge booth with all these banners of these AI-generated covers of his books that were like The Murder in Madison, The Madison Ripper, The Anunnaki. One of them is about a psychiatrist who's also a serial killer who talks to other serial killers as a psychiatrist. It's so frustratingly bad. I'm talking to this guy, and one, like, there's multiple people in this talking to this person, and I have never seen someone like look at the patrons of his booth with such scorn and dismissal. Just like right out of the gate, he's just like, why do you think you get to read my books? Like, it, very funny individual. But I get to talking to him about the writing process, about how it is that he wrote all this stuff. And he was just like, well, you know, I'm self-educated. I didn't need to go to school for any of this. It all just kind of comes to me. I've actually only ever read 2 books, but I've written hundreds.
Which 2?
I've only ever read. So here's the thing. He said that, and then I was like, all right, cool, man. Good luck. And I walked off. And then later on, I go back up to him, and I'm like, man, I have to ask, which 2 books have you read? And he's like, okay, to be fair, it was 2.5. I read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and then later on I read Bram Stoker's Dracula and the first half of Stephen King's The Shining, and I've never really needed to read anything else. Everything else bores me. I would rather be writing, and that's why I've been able to write hundreds of books, right? So, hysterical 2 books to pick.
Yeah.
I was with Liv, and when we got to talking about what books would be the funniest ones to read, and if you only had to pick 2, and she was like, yeah, I've only ever read 2 books, Where's Waldo and Gone with the Wind. And I was like, the phone book and like some epic saga. I don't know.
I think mine are probably Jonathan Livingston Seagull and American Psycho.
I mean, for me, it's like, it would be like I read the 3rd book of the series of unfortunate events, and then The Road.
Nice.
But anyways, we look them up on Goodreads. If you look through all of the reviews, he's got all these 4 and 5-star reviews with no words on them. And then if you look at the ones that actually have comments, they're all these 1-star reviews that are like, this dumb animal wrote this disgusting book that is racist and sexist and just toe-curlingly stupid. I don't give a fuck if he's only ever read 2 books. He's clearly doesn't know how to write. Don't waste your money. I wish I had never spent $40 at the fucking farmer's market. And that's how I know that this dude is real. That's my favorite thing, that somebody else had the exact same experience as me going up to a guy at an outdoor market, somehow getting suckered into buying a $40 saran wrapped book, and then coming home and just being like, what the fuck is this? It's brutal. I've given you enough information to figure out who it is. I'm not going to say his name, but please, God.
Credit to Garth Marenghi. When he wrote more books than he read, at least he actually wrote them. Like,
yes, exactly. God, I do need to actually read his books. I love the show, so.
I'm kind of breaking format with this episode because it involves litigation, so the most relevant threads have been memory holed as part of the litigation. So the actual thread that this went down in is not available or backed up anywhere. And also, sadly, that means that low text doesn't actually show up all that much in the text of this episode. Like, he was around when it was happening, but I don't have any actual quotes from him or anything. But this slotted in nicely to the stories we were telling, so I figured it was a good time to do it.
Yeah.
Although luckily, Todd Goldman is going to give us plenty to talk about. So, yeah, and like I mentioned, he was born in 1969. So when all this was going down, he was 37 years old. He's as old as I am now, which makes it very funny to me. And so to sort of give you a frame of where he was at this time, I have his bio here from Art Deals. Also, I love when an art site has badly formatted art in its website. Like, you can see the JPEG outlines around the transparency on their logo. Like, yeah,
and it does look like the final 9 save points of Silent Hill 2, I do have to say. In deep cut for all of the heads in the audience. But yeah, this is a terrible logo on a terrible website.
Yeah, so sort of his background here. It says, Todd Goldman is an American pop artist who bridges humorous catchphrases alongside ambrosial animation, creating works full of vivacity and flair. His work is highly sought after by art enthusiasts from all around the world. Although Todd Goldman began painting in high school, he didn't pursue his artistic interests until years later. Instead, he earned a degree in accounting from the University of Florida and worked as a CPA for 6 years, followed by a handful of odd jobs. Frustrated with the state of things, Goldman began to doodle just as he had when he was younger, making fun of the world through his stupid doodles. After 6 months, Goldman had collected enough designs to start David and Goliath in 2000, an apparel company based on his doodles. So yeah, unsurprisingly, this guy was like, it almost looks like he got into money and was like, man, I feel like I could make a lot of money off of art, and then like went from there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, a CPA from Florida is the absolute, like, most logical backstory for this guy. He exhibits all of the charm and flair that would bring to mind.
Okay, two things. Ambrosial, you come the fuck on.
Yeah.
Ambrosial is something that you describe like one of the great masters, like Gustave Doré or like Leonardo. Like ambrosial, fuck off.
I mean, in Midwestern terms, that's also a Jell-O salad, though.
Yeah.
He takes prepackaged ingredients, he throws them in a bowl, he mixes it up. He's ambrosial.
Where is this man? Where was he born?
I think he was born in Arizona and then moved to Florida and then moved back to Arizona later in life.
Looks like California is what I'm pulling up here.
Okay, yeah, California.
And okay, yeah, I'm just checking some other things based on some suspicions I have, but we will keep going.
That's fine, yeah. And so, like I mentioned, his breakout hit came just a year later in 2001 with the "Boys Are Stupid, Throw Rocks at Them" shirt. And, that was everywhere when I was in high school. And this launched like a whole little media empire. Like there was a book and like a board game, everything you need to know. Boys come from the stupid factory. Boys are pretty much smelly and useless, very like this is also weird because like I feel like this is very 90s. The like boys rule, girls rule, girls rule, boys rule. Or like parents. Like this feels almost like a 90s holdover kind of at this time when it's coming out.
I'm getting like Invader Zim vibes, but maybe that's because of the correlated values of where this was sold. Because everybody had Invader Zim hoodies at Hot Topic, from Hot Topic, and you could also get this there too.
Yeah, I think like the closest modern comparison I can draw for this art style is the oatmeal. It's very much that like merchandising,
right.
The art style.
Yeah, God. I mean, as someone whose art style takes so fucking long to do, it's I'm very frustrated when I see someone who can just like throw down a couple circles and call it a day and not have to like shade everything through like a matrix of intersecting lines. Like, Jesus Christ. It's hard enough seeing people that are digital illustrators who could like just throw some layers on a design and put it out there. I think that it can be really cool. I'm not coming at that. I'm just saying that like as someone who insists on doing everything by hand, it's very frustrating to see this guy getting multi-million dollars for "Boys Are Stupid, Throw Rocks at Them."
Yeah, and so from there, like also he started branching into the world of gallery art. He started making paintings of his shirt designs and selling them. Like here's one: "Boys Are Stupider, Send Them to Jupiter," with a little cartoon rocket ship. All done this very flat, childish style with thick outlines. He uses acrylics for his paintings too. So just for that, or here's one of his exhibitions is called "The Stupid Factory" because one of his things is "Stupid Factory, where boys are made." This
is he gay?
No,
not to be flip or anything.
He did this to meet chicks.
He did this to meet chicks. It sounds like he's doing this to meet girls, but okay, Thor. I've already said my piece on my feelings about how gallery art is dumb and bad and keeps the common person from experiencing art as a whole. Do you have any opinions on gallery art as a fellow t-shirt seller?
Yeah, I mean, of course, everybody on Earth knows that the art market, the capitalist framework around fine art is an absolute fraud. It's a way for rich people to move money around and inflate the value of things beyond reasonable value. I think that viewing art, appreciating art, being in the presence of art is one of the best things a human being can do. I think patronizing art is exceptional. I just actually bought a papier-mâché sculpture from a young artist at the county fair of a 4-pack of blue raspberry Zots. It's about 4 feet wide. It's incredible. It's one of the best pieces I've ever bought. And it's on display in my house. Zots are a fizzy candy that you put in your mouth. They have carbon dioxide crystals inside them, so they fizz over.
That sounds great.
But galleries
rule.
exist, and this is as a person who is shown in several galleries and, has been in this world. They exist, not to do a business or to expose art to people, but to sort of maintain a cultural presence, essentially, to say this is something that is deserving of public attention and praise, no matter what the actual values that are going into the work are. And I think that Todd Goldman having a gallery show is a perfect example, because the work is inept. It's terrible. It's technically and conceptually valueless. So it's not surprising that he would fit right in here.
It really is like, imagine if you could, if there were like, if 411 VM, this is such a deep cut, I should absolutely say something else instead of what I'm about to say. But if a skateboarding video company sponsored skateboarders who were bad, and then they just put out a video of people not just failing, but like failing at easy stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, it should be a celebration, even if you don't have a vast technical talent. I don't have a vast technical talent. I don't think I do. But I do have big ideas, and I do spend a lot of time to accomplish what I do like to do, right? And so to have these works here that are just like poorly conceived, poorly done, stupid ideas, it is like definitionally pop art in a way that's like kind of grotesque, and extremely disposable.
Like almost every one of these could be a Minion meme. Like if you put the text over a Minion, it would work just as well.
Really, like this is it's not deep. I'm reticent to have any trenchant criticism of art, because I do think that like literally any line on paper counts as art. But I do also like, I feel that same way about AI art. Is like, yeah, it sucks and is bad and is stupid and will kill us all. I get it, but it is still definitionally art, because it started as nothing, and then even if you steal it, even if you do all this other shit, you still made something out of nothing. I think that is still art, even if it sucks.
Right. Even if that something is a very small amount of meaning or beauty or value, it's still something. One thing that this has had me thinking about is I just finished reading Brad Gooch's excellent biography of Keith Haring, who was a pop, obviously one of the leading pop artists of the sort of post-pop 80s period, and who is somebody who I think gets a lot of criticism and pushback because much of his work was so commercial. Like, he was very interested in commercial applications of his work, opening a pop shop in New York City so people could buy prints and totes and shirts and stuff was as much of a part of his practice, as gallery shows and everything else he did. But I think the thing that I brought out from that book was that Keith Haring was always kind of questing. He was always working in new mediums and new formats with new concepts. So even though his visual presentations were simplistic and, often repetitive, he was always pushing outwards from that envelope. And I think that that's what makes an interesting artist. And so when you compare this, like, we're going to go deeper into Todd Goldman, but Todd Goldman shrinks ever deeper inside of this envelope of commercialism in ways that are super fascinating to me. So I'm looking forward to getting to that.
Yeah, it's like he found it. He found a niche, and then he strip mined it and never moved beyond it. And it's just fascinating. Yeah,
and I think you raised an interesting point about like commercialism, where like there are a number of artists that I have talked to since I started to like make things for people to buy, right? Since I started to break away from the just put something on a page and post it on my DeviantArt, right? And I've talked to a number of people who they just do paintings and they sell the paintings, and that's it. That's how they want to make art, individual paintings, or maybe a bar will hire them to paint the mural on the wall kind of thing. And I've been like, hey, I love your designs. If you ever wanted to like make an enamel pin or do some shirts or a sticker or something like that, I would love to like add you to like, I've got these huge orders. I can get all your stuff at a discount. I'm not going to charge you anything at all. I would just love to help see you do more cool stuff. And a lot of people are like, no, that's completely not what I'm trying to do. Absolutely not. I'm trying to make art for people to put on walls. So that's one type of thinking, that art is just, it is like the only way that you can make something is if you are making the individual piece, and then you put a price tag on that so that you can live and afford your life. And then the opposite end of it, the furthest extreme, is the Todd Goldman type of thing where, like what Jay was saying, like you're strip mining this entire thing. I think that there is a middle ground where, like, I make stuff that people like and is funny. You put stuff on shirts, but we still do have like an artistic sensibility. There is still like a holiness to a lot of our stuff. At least, I mean, that's my own personal view of art. So that, like, you don't have to, we're not saying that in order to be an artist, you need to be very removed from ever making money. You can make money as an artist. That's perfectly fine. It's when you do so little, so often to make so much, it just becomes tasteless. I think that's what my feeling is.
And I mean, for me, making good art is giving a shit. Like, that is what defines art. Art is giving a shit about things that you don't have to survive.
Yeah, I'm always interested in what people's, like, elevator pitch for what art is. Mine is like, it's a dialogue with the divine, or it's a record of emotions. But art is giving a shit. No, that's funny. I like it.
Continuing with the thing about commercialization, also the first time Perez Hilton has ever shown up in one of my documents. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Goldman has sold paintings to Jessica Simpson, Rihanna, Paul McCartney, John Goodman, and the Wayans brothers. Jessica Simpson spent $1,000 on a framed lithograph reading, "You say I'm a bitch like it's a bad thing." Rihanna spent $35,000 in a single trip to the Jack Gallery in Los Angeles in 2009. One of the paintings she purchased said, "Fat kids are harder to kidnap," a painting which Goldman says is him making fun of society's obsession with being thin.
Fuck off!
Exactly.
Fuck off!
If you're going to make a fat joke, just own it. Don't try and be like, don't do like the Jordan Peterson thing of like, oh, actually it's commentary. I'm trying to make you ask questions. Like, no, dude, you're making fun of fat people. Just lean into
excuse me. The swastika in the middle of my forehead is actually just to get us into a conversation about the swastika in the middle of my forehead. Also, fat kids are harder to kidnap is for sure not something that he wrote first, right? Like,
yeah, not at all. Like, we haven't even, like, we'll get into it, or like even just the first, like, a lot of these just look like other things. Like, one of them is like that stock photo of like a 50s housewife with something snarky written over it that we still see like every day.
Oh God, yeah, I've seen a trillion of those. But I need you to know that I am the guy who first wrote sarcasm is just one of the services that I offer. God, I remember this era of Rihanna.
How many jet skis did that buy you?
Jesus Christ. Well, one, but it's made out of tungsten, so it sinks right to the bottom.
And then the one thing I want to say about this blurb is that Rihanna has notoriously some of the worst taste in the world, so it's absolutely not surprising that she would drop this much money on Todd Goldman art. Totally on brand.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's all actors and musicians. No art people are buying this.
Interesting. Yeah. You know, as someone who, you know, I do stand-up comedy and I have a lot of friends that are actors and writers and all of this stuff. Also painters, and I'm doing this kind of art. So I have like fingers in so many different types of pies, right? And it's funny that like you hang out with actors and they'll just go like, you know, between you and me, actors like to think that they're really deep and evocative, but they're actually the most vapid losers on the planet. And I'm like, bet. And then I hang out with comedians and they're like, between you and me, comedians like to think, you know, like it's the same type of actually all of these people who are the movers and shakers are vapid losers. And then if you pull the camera back, you just go, oh, wait, actually kind of this entire species. Like we're all like Rihanna makes music that moves millions of people, but also has like a 7th grader taste in art. Fascinating. we're not a very deeply intellectual species. We every 1,000 years we'll get a couple people out of it, but not that much.
Yeah, and sort of wrapping up his intro here, we have this summary of his work here. It says, some buy it for shock value, some buy it for investment, Carolyn Solomon says. I don't care what your collection is about. You put this up and everyone's going to comment on it. And then it goes, but is it art? Is it post-pop, as Jack Solomon puts it? That's an internal question, says a smiling Alan H. Cushman of Attaboy, a Los Angeles licensing company that produces pop culture magnets, keychains, mouse pads, and other gear. He says, he's an artist in the spirit of Warhol. He has a finger on the pulse of our society right now. His humor is irreverent. It's fun. It makes people laugh and feel good. It's not such serious art, so you don't have to be intimidated by it. That's how they're selling him.
The most American sentence I've heard in so long. You don't have to feel intimidated by it because it's not serious. Okay.
K-Thor just sent me this.
So I was curious because there was a mention of people who buy for resale. I was very curious or buy for investment. I was very curious what the resale market for Todd Goldman art is now in 2025.
I didn't think about this. No, this is great because we're going to find out what these were selling for at their peak, and this is like half the prices they were going for. So
one interesting thing, if you've been on art brokerage before, sellers will describe their motivation to sell, and there's many either motivated or very motivated on here, which means people want to get rid of these.
Right. We're talking about shocking art. I do have to say, I am a bit of a purveyor in shocking experiences. I have all of the Pissgrave albums. If you can't already imagine what that's like, okay. One of the things that came out of the Comet Pizza ping pong bullshit pedo Satanist situation is there's this artist. I'm going to butcher her name. I apologize in advance. Birjana Durdevik. I don't know. Great, very interesting painter. When it comes to shocking art, everybody wants to have art that pushes boundaries for their own thing, and then they see art that pushes boundaries and they lose their goddamn minds. This is one of she was, I think, loosely tied to somebody who owned or frequented Comet Pizza, and this is one of the paintings that has inspired some of my stuff. And boy howdy, if you look up her stuff, we'll try to keep like a link in the notes. She's a very interesting painter, but they found this painting in one of the like correlated Epstein raids.
Yeah, that's I'm looking at it. That's an incredibly disquieting image.
Oh boy, yeah. It is a man. Now that I'm looking at it, it's going to be hard to describe for the pod. It is a young boy that is tied up against a tile wall with his shoes on the ground. It's very upsetting to look at. And so when I hear people talk about like shocking art, it almost always is just like this pop bullshit. Art can be so terrifying.
The shock value in Todd Goldman's art is that you're stupid enough to pay that amount of money for it. That's the shock. The art itself is not the shock. It's the purchase that's the shock.
Yeah, it's the price that's the fucking shock. Like, there are arguments that the Jackass movies are actually kind of a very interesting return to like vaudeville and sketch comedy of like the turn of the century. But a lot of that is like, it is reveling in the stupid and allowing yourself to explore these very puerile thoughts. That is, it is shocking for an adult to be into something so stupid.
Well, and also Jackass has a huge sort of owes a debt to the 70s and 80s performance pieces of people like the Kipper Kids, who were all about body humor and pushing sort of bodily endurance in ways that were silly or stupid or absurd. Like there's a very long tradition of that kind of performance.
Yeah, and my friend from stand-up, I believe they are still on Twitter as Dr. Pisspants. they do large, very talented paintings of individual frames of Jackass. And like, I believe Steve-O has one of just like somebody getting shot directly in the ass with a beanbag gun. And so like a full painting of just a man's ass covered in bruises. But like, I this person is like stunningly talented. And so I do really like that kind of thing, but like, moreover to the idea of like the idea of shock being an adult is buying something so stupid and childish, that is its own kind of shock value. But we right now, as of this recording, are on like what, day 3 of the Cracker Barrel Watergate fiasco of grown adults pulling their hairs out and writing hour-long YouTube videos about the Cracker Barrel logo change. Everyone in this country, the pop cult, like the whole idea of everyone, we're all very fucking dumb right now. So there's no rebellion. It would be rebellious if someone were to make something deep and thoughtful and interpretive. It would just be rejected, you know? So yeah, all of the shock value is gone. We've all lowered to the lowest common denominator now.
Goldman came under fire in 2004 for controversial slogans, the throw boys at rocks thing. There was some backlash to that. And then in 2007 for plagiarism. And that is what today's episode is about, his plagiarism scandal that involves something awful. So I know it took a little bit of a lead up there. And this story involves a longtime friend and collaborator of Low Taxes named Daisy K, who went by the handle Schmorky. I'm not doing her story for a lot of reasons, but she was a very prolific and skilled cartoonist and animator, and she ran about a half a dozen different webcomics. She basically defined the visual identity of Golden Age Something Awful. Like if you've seen something animated from Something Awful, Schmorky made it. And she was known for very smooth and fluid animation, which doesn't translate well to stills. If you watch it moving, it's still pretty impressive, especially when you know what Flash cartoons usually looked like back then. But like How Is Babby Formed, the video game dudes. How
Is Babby Formed is burnt into my memory forever. Yeah. How is Babby formed? How girl gets pregnant? Like
they need to do weigh and stain mother.
Weigh and stain mother. Who kill their babbies who cannot frick back.
My parents are with the father. I'm truly sorry for their lots.
I like every once in a while, someone will ask where I saw something or how I knew about it. And I go, I saw it on the news this morning. Morning. None of this so makes sense if you don't know who Schmorky is.
Just if you haven't seen How Is Babby Formed, it's a best 15 seconds you're going to spend today. Watch it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
How is Babby formed? How is Babby formed? How girl get pregnant?
Yeah, and even outside of Something Awful, she did some stuff for Adult Swim. Like she did an animated bumper of Casey Greaves' This Is Fine Dog. She did some stuff for the Aquabats. Like she was kind of all over the place with her stuff. So this is April of 2007. Schmorky discovered that Todd Goldman had recently sold a painting that looks suspiciously like one of her old comics from 2001. And I have them side by side here, and you can see just how blatant this is a copy of her comic there.
Yes, it is a little cartoon squirrel, very simple, praying at a bed. A very simple drawing, and her little word bubble next to her big bow says, "Dear God, make everyone die. Amen." And then Todd's painting is literally that exact same thing with less detail with acrylic paint.
And he took the ribbon off.
Right.
And there's a big Todd in the bottom corner.
And the big Todd. You know, we talked about this in the last episode about E-Bomb's World stealing content from Something Awful and then just like slapping the E-Bomb's World logo on there. And I just like, I know that, I said it in the last ep, but like that to me is like, I'm so repulsed by the idea of stealing somebody else's art and then putting my name physically on the art is just, it's just insanity to me to do something like this. There's making homages, there's making references, there's meditating on a similar theme. There's also like art studies. I've seen like Lewandowski did so many art, like his style is irremovable from the influence of Beksinski, but he is still a fully independent creator. You know, he was just heavily inspired by one artist. Who isn't? But this is just like
one of the most satisfying things an artist can do at any phase of their career is go to a museum and draw paintings, you know, draw sculptures.
Yeah, my dad does that. Yeah. My dad goes down to the Jocelyn, you know, and I'm going to dox him by telling you everybody where he goes every Saturday, so I'll just stop. Go hang out with my dad. He's great.
This is not that, though.
Yeah, like if you superimpose these, they are like line for line exactly traced. Like, and not only that, he did multiple paintings of this. Like, there's another one there with a pink bed instead of a blue one, and there it ends with an exclamation point instead of a period. But other than that, and there's a light bulb. But yeah, he just did the same. He copied it multiple times.
Well, that light bulb is it makes it the work transformative.
10% rule.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, because that is the big difference. It's like, I am always in favor of transformative works. Like as we'll see, one of the plagiarism accusations people did was they said that he was ripping off Disney because he did a shirt making fun of Bambi. And it's like, no, you're allowed to make fun of Bambi. That's not stealing Disney's intellectual property. Let's not go crazy here.
Yeah. And also, look, man, stealing from Disney, even if you're stealing from Disney, is one thing. Stealing from like a trans woman who is an independent animator is an entirely different thing that I'm going to judge on a much more stricter basis. Yeah, you know the words I'm trying to say. Fuck it.
Yeah, I got what you mean. Yeah. And so goons, when they discover this, they start emailing him and bothering him on MySpace about it. And then just a few days later, on April 12th, Todd Goldman's publicist, I put that in quotes because it probably was just him, registered an account and posted this on the forum. So he posted, "For immediate release, post-pop artist Todd Goldman controversial painting." Like, this is formatted like a press release on an internet forum, which is incredibly funny. Okay, Clearwater, Florida, April 11th, 2007. Popular post-pop artist Todd Goldman, who has made a career of making fun of the world with his sarcastic commentary and cartoon icons, has mistakenly used the design of another artist in two of his recent paintings. Yeah, that's his excuse. My bad.
I mean, like, dear listener, you can't see what we're talking about here, so you don't realize how egregious it is. But Jay just shared a transparency of like the drawing that Schmorky did on top of the painting by Todd, and it is exact. Like, the lines are exact. It's just that his lines are thicker and everything is simpler. It is not just I took the idea. If it was like a little praying boy in a slightly more realistic house or something like that, or maybe he's in a church and saying, "Please God, make everyone die," that, you know, you could argue that was a inspired thing, you know. But this is one to one. You know, this is like if I just redrew the "This is fine dog in a fiery kitchen" image from Casey Green, but like added nothing to it. That's just me taking somebody else's work.
Yeah, this is unambiguous. It is unambiguously an attempt to lift an existing concept and make it into a profit center. There's no transformation. There's no interpretation. There's no change whatsoever aside from changing the hand that drew.
I'm just sitting here thinking about like a kindergarten Todd Goldman who is everybody's making the hand turkeys and he takes another kid's hand and traces the other kid's hand to make his own. He's like, "Oh, I'm not going to get my hand all dirty. I'm just going to trace some other kid's hand," and he pays him with some Zots or something.
Honestly, that's less ridiculous than his excuse. His excuse, he goes, "Todd's painting, 'Dear God, Please Make Everyone Die,' was inspired from a drawing he received unbeknownst to him belonging to an underground webcomic artist named Daisy Schmorky K." So his excuse was, "I didn't know it belonged to somebody famous. I thought it was just some funny drawing from the internet."
Yeah, I didn't like. It is the excuse we've heard 1,000 times of like, it's the Rod Blagojevich thing, where when he got caught trying to sell his seat, he was just like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought I was going to get away with it." Like, I don't know if you remember the coverage of that when he got caught trying to sell his Senate seat. His thing was just like, I am deeply sorry for the language that I used in that phone call. I wouldn't have said the things I said if I thought that women were going to listen to the phone call too, because I said, you know, he's on the phone saying like, this is a really fucking valuable seat. I'm not going to give it away for fucking nothing. And I don't know. I just think that's really funny. Like the IDF getting caught blowing up a hospital and being like, look, I'm sorry. It was casual Fridays. We should have been wearing body armor, but we were just wearing t-shirts. This is very disrespectful to the army. Like, Jesus Christ, guys.
Right. The classic, I'm sorry if you're offended.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. And he concludes, he goes, Goldman has issued a formal apology to Miss K and has stated that he will not be using his design again in the future. As a gesture of good faith, Goldman has pledged to not profit from his mistake. He will instead donate his proceeds from the painting directly to Miss K or her charity of choice. So that's his thing. Is basically, okay. I got caught. I'll give you back the money if you don't make a big deal about this. And that didn't go well with the forums because, yeah, he's basically refusing to acknowledge wrongdoing and attempting to buy her off with a pittance. So that's not enough for the goons or her.
Yeah, I will say I am surprised that Todd made that effort. But yeah, I think that the trouble with art like this is that right now, you know, I said earlier that like bumper stickers are my bread and butter, and they really are. I sell a lot of stickers, right? There are companies with like an in-house designer that, you know, maybe it's a company of like 2 or 3 people, maybe it's just one guy or whatever. And I will see Instagram reels of them showing off 40 new stickers like every 3 days. It's boom, boom, boom. And they're all the same. Like, I would rather be blanking my blank. My other car is my other car is a Diddy party. You know, it's just horse shit, just thrown out there. I make every single thing individually, right? And so if I want to compete with these people, if I want to have the money to buy a house on stickers alone, the pressure to create tons of viral garbage constantly, pursuing virality, is overwhelming. And so that is what, like, I recognize it as a thing I could do, but not something I am ever going to do. Of just like, yeah, then there's people where you just like steal somebody else's idea and just sell it as your own, you know? And it, like, I understand the pressure that he's under because he has chosen a decidedly high volume pursuit, but you can't do it. It's bad for you.
I think what's really interesting about this apology is that Todd Goldman or his representative, depending, had no idea what goon culture was like. They had no idea how deeply ingrained into the fabric of the internet they were and how accustomed they were to digging into things. Like, in a less sort of tuned in audience, this might have worked. It is halfway to a decent apology. Like, the offering to donate to a charity is a good step, all that. But the thing is, plagiarism is like child molestation. It's never just once. So
yeah, you're right.
So it was only a matter of time before, you know, the spigot started flowing.
Yeah. And I think that maybe I think obviously we were then, and we are even more now. We don't just read an apology or a statement from a celebrity in turmoil and just take it whole cloth. We look at the most important part, which is admission of guilt, or what they are saying happened. Not about the money, not about like, oh, this popular artist made this very controversial painting. It's like, controversial, a lot of people will just be like, well, I support it. I support all the controversial stuff. What they said was, oh, he thought, like, explicitly what Jay was saying, he thought he was stealing from somebody else. Whatever, fuck it, bad apology. Take it away, Jay.
Exactly, yeah. So the goons start digging through his catalog and documenting the many instances of plagiarism that he ran across, because it turns out a lot of the designs he was selling were just like largely unaltered clip art or old computer program art. Like in a weird way, that's one of the things I think is really interesting. Is he has like these like Windows 3.1 is a recurring thing. It's like this is all stuff he like learned to do in college and just like never like upgraded almost.
Right.
Like, just I was like, he had like a Bad Kitty shirt. The cat is just clip art, except he filled in some of the bits. This one is pretty shameless because, yeah, he has the beer helping ugly people have sex since 1862. That is like a classic poster. So him just ripping it off, except to change the date, help ugly people get laid since 1927 is very. This is all being laid very bare. Like,
since 1927. Fucking the Mesoamericans were brewing beer. What are you talking about? That doesn't even make any sense. Your target demographic knows about beer. They know that it didn't start in 1927. What? Anyways.
Yeah, and also we have this whole one series that was especially bad. It's called Goodbye Kitty, because the cat itself was an old it was a cursor chasing cat named Nako that ran on Windows 3.1. It was like a program you install, and this little pixel cat would chase your mouse, and he just traced it and used it as this Goodbye Kitty character. So it shows up over and over in all these plagiarized designs that were also I think this one here is probably the most complicated one. He took the mascot for BSD Damon, which is an old computer program, a piece of Chip Wass commercial art, and that cat, and made them all together into this one image here. Like every aspect of this is just cobbled together from other stuff.
And it's worth noting that even compared to his regular work, this stuff looks like absolute dog shit. The line weights are all over the place. It's truly like graphically hideous. It's uglier than the work he does himself.
It's uglier, and you're right. It doesn't have a similar through line because it's in 4 different styles. Because like the what we're looking at is there was this original drawing of like a little demon devil guy holding a pitchfork, and he's kind of got this frowny face thing. I don't know. It looks like the art style from the Backyard Baseball Kids or something. And then there's the mascot logo, which is a really stylized design of like if you had like a pickup basketball team called the Devils, you would have this guy as your logo, big old nose and hooked chin and stuff like that. And he just traced that on top and then took this little pixel art cat and put it onto the other thing. And it doesn't make sense. It just looks like you're just moving JPEGs around and then painting them. Like straight up, it just doesn't look good. And I don't know why, I just don't fucking get it, man. It's like, why are you tracing the simplest things?
Yeah, he doesn't get any better at it.
Yeah. The chillin' with my gnomies thing, he takes directly from the art book about gnomes that my mom had.
Yeah, if you superimpose it, it's exact right there.
It's exactly the same. And it's like, dude, the final product are like these dusky, crinkly silhouettes of gnomes, of like 3 gnomes with big bushy beards, right, with the cone hats and all that. But like, it's the simplest thing to draw.
And he has money. He can afford to hire someone to make designs for him if he wants. He's just stealing to save money at this point.
There's a lot of big name artists who are like not. I'm struggling to remember the guy's name. Somebody in the in our studio audience right now is going to yell it out to me. But there's the guy who painted those huge, beautiful paintings of like black people in Napoleonic.
Candy Wiley.
Yeah, Candy Wiley. And like, yeah, he had his staff, when an artist
say
has
assistants, probably like studio
assistants, sure. Paint the backgrounds for him so that he could focus on the foregrounds. And for some people, I know that's like absolutely verboten. How dare you put your name on something that you did not do all of the entirety of the work for, right? But some people, that isn't that big of a thing. That's up for debate. I don't really care. But like, this stuff is like, Rihanna just gave you $35,000.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
That painting she paid for, that fat kid, is just clip art of a fat kid he traced. Like, he didn't do anything to it. God, yeah, there's just so many of these. And even outside of like the outright plagiarism, some of his characters are just very obviously based on other popular characters. Like, he had one called Bear in Underwear that was very obviously just a mashup of existing characters. This one, even without seeing the reference, I could tell this is the laughing kid from Schoolhouse Rocks, because I saw that bumper a million times growing up.
I do have to insist that you scroll up because you did skip. You skipped the Neko Kitty one with the 3 X's. And it's like, you know, the porn theater 3 light up X's, and it's like the kitty cat looking over it, and it just says kitty porn. No comment. Just wanted to highlight the kitty porn joke that he's making here. Anyways, take it away,
a guy
Jay.
who sells shirts to children. God, yeah. Also, he mirrored the tail of the cat hanging. That's the thing art thieves love to do, is mirror it, because they think it makes it harder to notice.
Oh yeah, that's so funny.
God, yeah. And then just more of them, like the 50s lady one. Like I already mentioned, that's a very thing. One that really surprised me is he had a painting called "How Stick People Became Extinct," where it's like 2 stick figures fucking, and the friction makes them burst into flames. That was lifted from a Flash cartoon. Like somebody sent him this Flash cartoon. He's like, "Oh, that's funny. I gotta paint that."
And like again, he's not. Forgive me for like, you know, these aren't big ideas that he's stealing. He's stealing like there's a threadless shirt down here.
Yeah, this is a whole thing. A bunch of these are just the basic concepts, but he's very obviously just reading Threadless and being like, oh, I can do that, and just making it like a version of these shirts after they sell on there. Like this one of the milk and cookie BFF, it was like that artist had a lot of people. I've read some of her stuff about people trying to rip it off. Like,
of course. Yeah. I mean, like this is old hat now, but like I've had a number of people trying to take my stuff, and I am nobody. You know. But this is eventually.
It's super common. They sell the Doom Come shirt on Temu now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I've seen that shit everywhere. And that's like so frustrating. Eventually, Jay, maybe you have a through line for this at some point in time. But Emily the Strange, or Emily is Strange, or something like that. That entire line was just completely lifted. It was like this white woman stole this entire thing about Emily is Strange from a black painter. I don't have the exact details on that, but like all of those Emily is Strange with the bangs that you'd see at Hot Topic in the 2000s, completely stolen art from somebody else. You know, it's like what they did with the Borderlands art style, where they had somebody submit a portfolio to Gearbox of like what they think would be a cool replicable art style for a first-person shooter game, and Gearbox is like, we're not going to hire you ... but we are going to take literally like the a 1-to-1 that splotchy painting style from you, and just like completely yoink the entire thing. So frustrating.
No, definitely.
The degree of this.
And also, like, outside of Something Awful, other artists had feuded with Todd Goldman about stealing stuff before, and this was kind of a flashpoint for that as well. Like, one character in particular that he had named Eve L, which is like a vacant-eyed child that literally says, "You laugh at me for being different, I laugh at you for being the same," on this example picture here. Is very obviously a Roman Dirge comic character named Lenore, except he removed the pupils, and instead of having skulls, she has ribbons. But they look pretty much similar. One of the shirts he sold of her is literally, you could see the exact same design in the knives and everything from the comic panel. He just changed her head to a cartoon skull. Like, he was a couple artists he kept going back to, like Chip Wass, who was the Devil Head. This is another one of his drawings that he very badly copied.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, like, dog, I've done some lesser oddities shows in the past, and there will be people who's like, I will see people with these big, beautiful paintings, and some people with like really fine art at stuff. People genuinely very talented, and like next to them, they will have somebody whose thing is they buy the dolls from a thrift store, and they put little blood splotches on them, and they cross out their eyes with a Posca marker, and then they sell them for $25. It's like, truly just sell me the gum from under your chair. Like, it's so low rent and tacky and trashy, and it's just fucking infuriating.
Okay, and this one is my favorite. So I even pulled this up earlier when we were looking through this. So this painting here of the fish in the fishbowl, it says, "This sucks." There's something odd about this picture. It's a fishbowl, but at the very bottom, there's gaps in the bowl, like these empty spots. And the reason why they're there is because the clip art he traced, somebody is holding the fishbowl aloft, and he just erased them and didn't fill in the spots he erased. It's so lazy.
it's so weird. Like it's like, again, coming back to this, these are exceedingly simple drawings. Like it's crazy to just crank out nothing, and you couldn't finish the last 10% of the fishbowl. Now the drawing doesn't make any fucking sense, man. Like, it's so wild.
Yeah, it's spectacular. And I think that's what makes this story so interesting. Is it's not that he's a plagiarist, because there's tons of plagiarists. He's a spectacularly lazy and incompetent plagiarist. Like one of the
got so far with
worst plagiarists.
Yeah. It's
there's
incredible.
In fine art plagiarism, you have to do a significant amount of work to replicate the work of an established artist for the most part. You know, there are art forgers who specialize in specific artists. You know, they spend their whole lives learning that artist's techniques and approaches to simulate their work. And there's nothing of that here. It's literally as fast as possible, take the saleable elements from this image and sell it.
Yeah. And it's not transformative, but it is also like the scale of it, and is like so comprehensive, because he's like, you have to be doing this so much to just be like churning through clip art to find this, to go to steal stuff from Schmorky, to steal stuff from all these other little people. Like there's a thing where you know, I could forgive an artist thinking that they were big enough that their touch would be transformative, right? But seeing how often this has happened, and the scale and the people that he chooses to steal from, this isn't accidental. This is Todd going through and individually finding people that can't fight back and stealing their work. And that's what's so frustrating about all of this, is like, all of these people are just like, they can't stand up to a guy who makes this degree of money. You know, it's so predatory. You know, that's what makes it all so upsetting.
It really is, yeah, and unfortunately, you know, that's part of why I like this story too, is because usually there's not a lot of recourse for people when this happens to them. So this is a very fun story of people working together and actually negatively infecting someone's career, as we will find out. That
is all that we have for this week. We have the setting up of this catastrophic asshole who's stealing shit from everybody, and we are drawing back the arrow to find out just how bad it gets for him. I'm very excited to find out. I hope that he is put into a very small box or something. I don't know. So that's what we have for us. As always, we do have our Patreon, $1 a month. We have a whole bunch of new episodes up. And you can listen to even more from I'm from the internet. That's us there. All that money goes to Jay and Steve. If you want to find me, get a copy of my game, or see any of the stuff that I make, I am Winslow Domain on Twitter, winslowdomain.com, and Calculations on Instagram. That's me. Jay, where can they find you?
I'm Jay Brandstetter on Blue Sky. Mostly just working on the show right now. And K Thor, where can they find your work?
Probably shortandhappy.com is your best choice.
Excellent. Cool. Well, that's all for us this week. We will be back next week with even more of this miserable asshole. Thanks for listening. I'm From the Internet is created by Jay Brandstetter and Winslow Domain. Edited by Steve Brown. Music by Steve Is Broke.